Welcome to the Retro Video Store Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Video Store Podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
Hi, Eric.
And that's my co-host, Neil.
I'm Neil. And who is dealing, once again, with the effects, whether you fucking believe it or not, of climate change?
That would be David. Out there fighting fires, teaching people, staying busy, interfering with his ability to be on the podcast.
Forget the carbon emission stuff, man. It's messing up Dave's movie watching time.
Yes. Well, we all, if you probably noticed, or maybe you didn't, we skipped a week last week.
We just skipped a week.
We were all busy. We had shit going on, and Neil has a harrowing tale to tell us about what he missed, and we'll get into that. Neil, tell us what happened.
I was attacked by a pit bull. And not like Mr. Worldwide, not like Dale. I wasn't attacked by that pit bull. I got attacked by a fucking pit bull. Like go to the emergency room kind of attacked by a pit bull. Got a hold of my arm. I grabbed a hold of its head and I jammed my fingers my thumb into its eye as hard as I could. It let go. And as soon as it let go, I pulled my arm back, and then it tried to get a hold of my leg, but it only got a hold of my pants, and it shredded my pants. And then I'm kicking this dog for like everything I've got. And that was when I noticed after it bit me on the arm that I'm like, oh my God, I'm bleeding profusely. And my son was thankfully in the car. Cause I lift weights, God damn it. I've got more meat on me, but I didn't want him getting bit. And I'm backing up and I'm grabbing my arm and I'm bleeding really good. And I'm like, fuck. So all I can think of is like, I need to wash this thing. And I'm backing up to try to get towards the front door of my house. And I look down at my arm and I look over, and then they're gone, man. They are running down the street.
The people who own the pit bull?
The people and the pit bull. And I live on a very busy street. I haven't seen them. I would have no idea where to begin looking for them. So I go to the hospital, get an x-ray. Everything really, really hurt because of the squeeze. It got my radius and ulna in such a way that it squeezed them together. So I had some really, really bad bruising, deep bruising on the inside. I had a lot of bad bruising on the outside, a couple puncture wounds. Great in the x-ray. It's like, oh, here's the bone. And then a neat little V where its tooth caught it. And like the doc called them like little micro kind of fracture kind of deals from the bite. So not knowing the people, not knowing the dog, the doc comes in and he says, hey, we have not had an issue with rabies in a very long time in our county, but we don't know the dog. We don't know where we don't know where the people are from. So in an abundance of caution, we'd like to give you a big old shot of immunoglobulin, and we would like to start you on the rabies vaccines. So I got like 7 mils of this really thick rabies stuff into and around all the wounds. So my arm was already like purple and swollen, and my hand looked like Mickey Mouse's glove. And then they're giving me shots. And so
Did you say, oh, that hurts, guys?
Son of a bitch, guys. that dog fucking bit my hand. Pluto sat there.
Yeah, Pluto didn't do shit.
Pluto sat there like a bitch. So yeah,
hot dog,
dog. So, yeah, I had my hand elevated for like 3-4 days. I had this really cool like ice thing that I got to shove my hand into. Mm-hmm. And since my job is requiring of the artsy fartsies, I was really paranoid about like tendon damage and stuff. So I went back and I got everything looked at. I was basically told to lay off of it. I still, my forearm is still it's still swollen. It still hurts to use my hand, but the doc is like, you're going to have full use. So I've had 3 doses of it. And I go back this Friday to get my last dose, and fuck those people. Yeah, that's what I did.
Did you call the Humane Society or Animal Law Enforcement or anything?
Oh, they call them when you show up to the ER with an animal bite. They call them. They came.
Oh, okay.
They came and knocking. The guy was like, "Can you describe them?" And I'm like, "Yeah, gray, looked like a pit bull." Like, no, the people. And I'm like, "Well, how do I say this? Ghetto." They appeared to be ghetto. And it's just one of those things. Everyone's like, it's not the dog, it's the people. But at this point in my life, fuck that dog and the people too.
Yeah. I wonder if they could like see if there's like
ass.
Ring camera footage around the neighborhood and see if they can find these people or something like that.
Yeah, I asked, but the problem is I live right off a busy freeway.
Mm-hmm.
And once you cross that, you go into like apartment complexes and there's a college and all sorts of stuff. And once they hit that corner, they were gone. No sight of them. So I know what they look like, and I do drive a large truck. So that dog is like speed bump shaped. Should I have?
Should you encounter them again? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did.
Wow. Your week was it was way more eventful than mine. I was just busy with work and stuff. And, and by the time I just like, okay, we're going to watch Event Horizon, which is the movie we're going to watch. And I just didn't get to watch it. I could not get to watch it. And I finally took until this 2 days ago, I finally watched the movie.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I really just, for some reason, everything was getting in my way to watching this movie. So
I watched it because that weekend I went up to San Francisco. I went to Sacramento to play bagpipes and drums and all other great stuff. And I watched it in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So at least one of us is committed. At least one of us is trying to make this work.
I must say that I did not give it. I probably could have carved out some time, but just for some reason, everything got in the way and I didn't. So yeah, a bad podcast host. But I did watch it for this week. We're going to do today's the Event Horizon, and next week is The Abyss.
Looking forward to that one too.
So yeah. So what else? What did you watch this week, Neil?
Oh my God, man! It's. I believe I watched every single Marvel movie in existence. I was at the house. I felt like shit, and they were just showing Marvel movie after Marvel movie after Marvel movie after Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I just watched them all, and now I think I need to get myself to go watch the Thunderbolts.
It's fucking good.
It is. It's really good.
I've seen it twice now. That's probably the reason why I didn't see watch Event Horizon, because I've seen Thunderbolts twice in that time.
No, it was like, oh, you've watched this. Would you like to watch this Captain America? Would you like to watch the Hulk? Would you like to watch the Avengers? Would you like to watch Spider-Man? Uh-huh. So I sat there. I watched a lot of Marvel movies. I got on and watched a lot of A24 trailers. That looks good. And there's one called The Last Unicorn.
Yeah, that looks interesting. Yeah,
that looks really interesting.
And there's this one with Paul Rudd and the other actor. Like they're supposed to be like a really awkward comedy. He does shit. I can't remember that guy.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about because it was Studio A24. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I wanted to watch, and I put it on a watch. I put it on one of those like queues of all the streaming services, but having been on a great deal of pain medicine, I don't remember, but it was a flick with Nick Cage where he's like a retired hitman, and he lives like in the Florida Keys or something like that. I thought that was going to look really good, and I think at some point I watched it because it showed that I watched it on the queue. But guess what? I was on opioids. I don't remember it.
I don't remember a damn thing about it.
Nope. Got to rewatch it. Mm-hmm. And I got to remember where I watched it. I just kind of one of those things that popped up. Hey, you liked this. You might want to see this.
Yes.
But what'd you watch?
Well, besides watching Thunderbolts twice, which I think is really, really good, it got me kind of psyched up for Marvel movies again. I watched Captain America: Brave New World, and I thought it was good. It was okay. It wasn't awful. I would say that it was mid-level. It's probably better than like Thor: Love and Thunder and Thor: The Dark World and Ant-Man and the Wasp and that other kind of a few of the other movies that are in the middle of the Marvel pack. But Thunderbolts is really, really good. It reminded me a lot of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, where you take some B-level heroes and make you give a shit about them, and you want to see him do more stuff. Where it takes Florence Pugh, who's now like the new Black Widow, Yelena. She really shines, man. It makes you forget about Scarlett Johansson. You're like, I want to see more of her do more things because she's so good. And David Harbour's The Red Guardian. If you saw Black Widow wasn't a great movie, but watching Thunderbolts makes Black Widow a better movie in retrospect. So after you watch Thunderbolts, you're like, I'm going to go back and watch Black Widow. Go back and watch Black Widow. So that was pretty good. And I watched another movie, which we're going to have to do, I think, after The Abyss. I watched The Believers. Remember that movie about Santeria in voodoo with Martin Sheen and his son and the wife dies and all that kind of stuff. It's a really good like 80s voodoo movie. The Believers and Serpent in the Rainbow were the two like voodoo movies of the 80s that I really remembered. Maybe Angel Heart. Angel Heart had a little bit of voodoo in there too, but those were your voodoo movies of the 80s. So
was that what's the one with Bill Pullman?
A Serpent in the Rainbow. Serpent in the Rainbow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one too. I think we should do as well eventually. But voodoo movies, The Believers, in 2 weeks. It's available to watch on Amazon Prime. And I had to rent Event Horizon. So let's talk about Event Horizon.
You do. I wish I could remember where I watched it, but I watched it for free.
You watched it for free? Yeah. Okay. I added a lot of Chat GPT assisted notes this week, but they're actually pretty good. I was actually really impressed with the notes, and I'll tell you what I did. I always type out the notes, but I had a question. I'm like, what movies use the folded paper analogy to describe time travel? And it went boom, and immediately picked out Interstellar, Event Horizon, Donnie Darko, Pacific Rim, and then Doctor Strange kind of talks about it. Stranger Things does it, and Contact, the movie with Jodie Foster where she sees her dad in space.
Your father, what did he tell you?
So yeah, but this movie was the first to use, hey, instead of following time in a linear fashion, we fold time and you poke a wormhole into the folded paper and you make from one distance to the other. And I guess A Brief History of Time came out in the 80s, and a lot of people must have read that because that's where everybody cribbed that from for their time travel movies.
Sure. You know what? I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with you on that one. You know what I learned from all of this is that interstellar travel does not treat Lawrence Fishburne kindly, because my wife wanted to watch Passengers the other day. The Chris Pratt blue alien mutant chick actress.
I know who you're talking. Jennifer Lawrence.
Thank you. I'd seen this movie. I'd watched it with her, and I walk in, and all of a sudden there's Lawrence Fishburne there dying, and I'm like, when the fuck was he in this movie? I don't remember this at all.
I've never seen Passengers.
This poor guy can't get on a spaceship without getting killed. Not fair. I like Lawrence Fishburne. He's a kick-ass actor.
He's a good actor, yeah. Do you want to hit us with the Internet Movie Database tagline?
Sure. A rescue crew is tasked with investigating the mysterious reappearance of a spaceship that had been lost for 7 years.
7 years.
Dum dum dum.
And Sam Neill is in this movie. I don't think Sam Neill gets enough credit for his horror movie output, because he's been in some damn good horror movies. Just off the top of my head, he was the adult Damien in The Final Conflict, and he did a fucking good job in that. And then he was in the movie Possession with Isabella Adjani, with that crazy ass movie from 1981 that just sticks in my head. It's a really, really good one. He was also in The Mouth of Madness.
Oh yeah,
John Carpenter movie, which we've got to do eventually. That's a good one. So he was in The Omen 3, The Final Conflict, Possession. There's a movie called Enigma, an Anglo-American thriller. And he did Dead Calm. He was pretty good in that one. That's an underrated movie, Dead Calm, with Billy Zane and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, yeah. When they're on the boat. Yep.
Yep. Pretty good one. He was in, of course, Jurassic Park, in The Mouth of Madness.
You know what they got in Jurassic Park? Rubber lizards.
Yes. We've done an episode on Jurassic Park. You want to listen to that one? He did Snow White, A Tale of Terror. I wanted to see that one. I've never saw it. It was has Sigourney Weaver in it, and she's like the evil queen. Never seen that one. Bicentennial Man.
I don't really consider that a horror movie. I think you're going a little off base.
I just saw that one. Thor Ragnarok. He's kind of quite a good output in movies. He's in Godzilla Supernova. I saw a trailer for that, which is not even a trailer. It disappointed me. It's just like this room where a Godzilla alarm goes off, and it says Godzilla Supernova. And so Godzilla and Kong versus Godzilla v Kong versus Brown versus the Board of Education Supernova.
Uh-huh.
He's been in quite a few TV shows as well. But yeah, he gets at least the horror movie pass for being Damien in the final conflict.
Oh, Daybreakers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's the vampire CEO.
I love him in Damien, the final conflict. He's just chewing the scenery. Nazarene! So this was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, not to be confused with Paul Thomas Anderson, the good director. This is Paul W.S. Anderson.
Not to be confused with the good one, but this is one of the Andersons. There's a shit ton of them around, guys.
It could be argued that Event Horizon is a good movie. I don't know. It's decent, but he's also known for doing a lot of video game adaptations. He did Mortal Kombat, the first one, Event Horizon, a movie called Soldier with Kurt Russell. I always remember seeing that one, but I never watched that one.
I watched that one because of Kurt Russell. My mom wanted to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Got an interesting cast: Gary Busey, Jason Scott Lee, Connie Nielsen. So he did Resident Evil, where he met his wife, Mila Jovovich, Alien vs. Predator, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Resident Evil Extinction, Death Race with Jason Statham, Resident Evil Afterlife, a 2011 Three Musketeers, which I've never seen, Resident Evil Retribution, Pompeii, disaster movie, Resident Evil The Final Chapter. Then he did the Monster Hunter movie in 2020, which is based on the video game that my son enjoys. I try to play it, but it's just too much gathering. Slay the monster, gather the mats. Slay the monster, gather the mats. Take on bigger monster, get killed. Slay another monster, gather the mats. It's just that's the circle of Monster Hunter.
Well, I've been enjoying the Oblivion remastered lately.
See, I kind of wanted to buy that. How is it?
Did you ever play the original?
Yeah.
It's like the original, but it looks better, and they left a lot of the bugs in, and you can do some ridiculous stuff. A lot of fun.
Nice. So he's done a lot of video game movies, which is kind of cool. I was watching something, some making of about this movie, big surprise, and that he says that he's a filmmaker for the people. He doesn't really care about critics. He just wants to make a movie that's entertaining. So,
well, the people didn't really like this because it cost him $60 million to make and only made 42.
Yeah, but this was huge on DVD, and became an inspiration for a lot of survival horror video games set in space. Dead Space being one, namely, which I never played, but I hear that one's very Event Horizon adjacent or inspired by. Written by Philip Eisner, released on August 15th of 1997, budget of $60 million, but box office of $42 million. We got the cast of Lawrence Fishburne as Captain S.J. Miller, commanding officer of the Lewis and Clark, the rescue ship, and he's just a dick. I guess he's just demanding,
He's demanding. Yeah. Why can't he just be assertive?
Yeah.
And have expectations, and then all of a sudden he's got to be a dick.
Well, they play it that
Eric?
way.
Hmm?
They play it that way because they switch it around. Because you think he's maybe the villain because they're ostracizing the Dr. Weir, but they flip it and Dr. Weir is the villain, and then it turns out the Captain Miller is the hero.
Yeah, I don't think they ever were successful. I mean, you understood from the second the guy's on the ship and he's dismissing what everybody's saying. You're like, yeah, you're the fucking bad guy, dude.
Yeah.
The portal was open. That's impossible. What happened was you were having no, motherfucker, the portal was open.
So Sam Neill is Dr. William Billy Weir, designer of the Event Horizon. Kathleen Quinlan is Peters, a medical technician. Jolie Richardson is the Lieutenant Stark, communications and executive officer. Richard T. Jones is T.F. Cooper. Jack Noseworthy, he seemed like he was in a lot of stuff back in the day. He was like the young actor. And let's look up his filmography. Encino Man, the Brady Bunch movie, Trigger Effect. Ooh. That was a movie with Kyle MacLachlan and Elizabeth Shue. Event Horizon, Idle Hands. I remember from Idle Hands. Okay, yeah. That's where I've seen him. Undercover Brother, he was in that one. I remember from that. So he's still making movies. Yeah, Jack Noseworthy. But he was the young guy. I kind of wrote down their stereotypes as in my notes. The generic Q, blonde lady, brunette lady, nervous young guy, shifty white guy, sarcastic black guy, cold British medic guy, and grizzled space captain.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That was the stereotypes that I saw in everybody. Well, that one guy is Lucius Malfoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Tatty, hand me down spacesuit. You must be a space Weasley.
Space Weasley. Yeah, Jason Isaacs.
You've given Dobby retro thusters.
Have you seen, and I don't want to get you to point you down a rabbit hole of depravity, but the last podcast on the left talked about this lot of, what Rule 34 is, right?
Please.
Rule 34. Rule 34 is that somebody will write erotic fiction about any character that there is. And there is a whole subsection of erotic Dobby content. And
fucking no, stop while I have a modicum of respect for you. You need to just fucking quit.
I watched this on last podcast.
I swear I'll leave.
I didn't search it out myself.
Bullshit.
I did not search it out myself. And I wish I did not see it.
Get Jamie in here, and I want her to go through your fucking search history.
I did not watch that myself.
Of course,
the last podcast left had a lot.
Look, I'm not judging. I just don't want to know.
Yeah, but don't go down that rabbit hole because you will scar yourself for life.
You went down that Dobby hole, is what you did.
Harry Potter went down Dobby's hole, if you want to know what I mean. In this Rule 34 fiction. So,
wow.
It is really disturbing. Yeah, I don't even want to send it to you on Instagram because that would fuck up your algorithm and you'll hate me the rest of your life.
Okay. Speaking of fucking Instagram algorithms, my Instagram algorithm is very, very specific. Okay. Mm-hmm. Food, grilled food, martial arts. Okay. Somehow, because of martial arts, I got this dumbass redneck guy with all the hair up here, right, and big long ass hair in the back. Not even like a mullet, but old. The guy is like a walking he's like a walking cigarette filter when you hear him speak, and he's like smacking frisbees out of the air with nunchucks. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? So that I skipped, and it turns out he actually got famous, apparently, for doing like karaoke and filming himself. And he's got like one move where he kind of goes like this. You know John Lovitz in The Wedding Singer, but he's got moves like this.
Like this.
So it's kind of like that. And he can't sing. His timing is way off. He's never in key. He's never on the beat. And he loves to fucking film himself singing. But because I watched that video with him and the nunchucks and the frisbees, now it's all over my algorithm.
You watch it once and then it's there,
and then and people like basically, like say, dude, you suck. And then he does whole like responses to people and tries to look like threatening and badass. And it's like, why? And I skip over it. And I'm like, no. I want to watch. Oh, look. Oh, here's how they do dry rub barbecue in Texas. Let's watch that. Oh, this is an interesting way to cook vegetables. Flip. There's the human cigarette filter again on my fucking feed.
My algorithm is pretty depraved, I must say. It's Mexican
I-
food.
Oh God. Arnie Tex. Have you watched him?
Mm-mm.
Oh, type him in. Arnie Tex. Dude, his fresh salsa recipes as a New Mexican, you will appreciate.
Sounds good. So people making Mexican food, there's this one chef Ñaite Garcia, whatever, and he makes like the best Mexican food. I think I've sent you maybe some links every once in a while. He's like, I'm going to make green chili enchiladas, and he makes them amazingly. You're going to have lots of cats, Mexican foods, cats, workplace safety videos.
Oh yeah, those are great. Thanks for sending those, by the way.
I love a nice, violent workplace safety video. Just nothing brings me more joy than watching somebody get their arm caught in a in a machine, or the production values make Final Destination look tame in these workplace safety videos.
When the one forklift goes to the brick wall, but the bricks are paper, it just
and then stabs a guy,
spears the dude on the other side. That was so great.
Yeah, so I watch a lot of. There's occasional big, I won't say a lot, but there are some big booty chicks in there every once in a while. Yeah.
Not judging.
Not
Not like I was with your fucking Dobby bullshit that you.
I'm going to have to find what I sent it to you.
if you send it to me, I'm going to look up. So I'm going to find something jacked up, and then it's on. It's going to be war.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you links. Totally safe to open at work, dude. Should we go over some critical consensus?
Yes, let's talk about the critical consensus.
Since we're half hour in and we haven't talked about the movie.
Yeah, about Event
We're
Horizon.
trying to avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rotten Tomatoes, it gives an approval rating of 35%, and that's based on 93 reviews. That gives an average of 5.2 out of 10, which I'm still trying to figure out how that works out with the 35% approval rating. Consensus says, despite a strong opening that promises sci-fi thrills, Event Horizon quickly devolves into an exercise of style over substance, whose flashy effects and gratuitous gore fail to mask its over-reliance on horror cliches. Metacritic, it's got a weighted average score of 35 out of 100. I'm starting to see a trend here. Based on 20 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews, and audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of D+, on an A+ to F scale. Roger Ebert, let's go, boys, gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, commending its atmosphere and noting the opening portion as particularly well crafted. However, he felt it never managed to become the intense, thought-provoking experience it wanted to be. The Washington Post critic Stephen Hunter called the film pointlessly loud, with more devotion to style than scares, and a satisfying explanation of its supernatural experiences. In a lukewarm review, and that's not the name of the dude. That's actually the description.
Lukewarm. Reviewer lukewarm.
Yeah. Empire Magazine. I cracked myself up. I had to pause for that.
That was
Empire Magazine wrote that the film never fulfills its promise, is down to its over-reliance on horror vagaries and a precision-built sci-fi milieu, ultimately leaving too many unanswered queries. A sharper script and more credible solution would have turned this impressive hokum into a force to be reckoned with. You know what? I don't like the guy from Empire. That was an unnecessary way to word that entire thing. He could have said that much. Yeah, it's the hokum and the hooey.
The flim-flam. The chicanery.
Ebert, And some other critics noted the influence of Solaris on Event Horizon. The film had some early supporters. Total Film gave it 3 out of 5 stars, stating, excellent special effects and an alien-esque feel make this supernatural horror film, The Shining in space, as most critics have called it pretty accurately, well worth a look. Owen Gleiberman gave it a B-, stating, just when you've written off this deep space nightmare as a late summer melange of Alien, Fantastic Voids, The Shining, and a dozen other more forgettable otherworldly thrillers, it unleashes some of the most unsettling horror imagery in years. No, it doesn't. Whereas Time Out Magazine mentioned that, despite its shortcomings, like the script, this is never dull. The movie avoids alien space monster cliches brilliantly, and the soundtrack, but not Sam Neill sucking in his gut. And the soundtrack contains more of the boo effects than I've heard since Halloween. So, legacy and reevaluation. In the years since its release, Event Horizon has developed a cult following, and it has been referenced in other works of popular culture. Retrospectives for the 25th anniversary of its release, IGN noted its impact on other media, such as the Dead Space video game series that you mentioned. And Rotten Tomatoes wrote that its unforgettable imagery, standout cast, and escalating thrills have made it a celebrated cult classic for horror aficionados. Total Film said the film has been cemented in pop culture history as both a cult classic and vital addition to the sci-fi horror subgenre. Collider called it a grand, ambitious vision that tries to marry elements from the Alien films. The first half hour or so hews very closely to Aliens. With
How about a rip-off of Aliens for the
rip-off,
first
hour? But where the pieces do fit better than expected, a film aiming for an A+, that is content with its B grade. So yes, Event Horizon is indeed worthy of reevaluation. Forbes described it as Anderson's nightmarish epic, while Fangoria's Scott Wampler, I'm sorry, just your last name, bro. I'm done.
He sounds like a Fangoria reviewer. Scott Wampler, Fangoria.
Well, he thinks this was Anderson's best film. Of the film's reevaluation, Anderson said, it's finally got the reaction now I was hoping it would get 25 years ago. 2024, Variety named Event Horizon as the 94th best horror film of all time. The scene in the film where Weir illustrates how wormholes work with a pen and paper was replicated in Christopher Nolan's Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I will agree.
Go ahead. Let's go. You know what? This whole movie comes down to, I think, one CGI artist obsession with water blobs.
There was a lot of water blobs.
There's a lot of water blobs. You know what? Oh, we could have somebody bump a water blob and it could break, or we could see 2 water blobs go together. I think having people wipe a water blob off a screen, riveting filmmaking.
And stuff floating around, like random tools like channel locks and other things just, kind of floating around.
Yeah.
I agree with Roger Ebert. The atmosphere and commending the atmosphere, noting the opening portion was particularly well crafted. However, he felt it never managed to become the intense, thought-provoking experience it wanted to be. I think that my opinion of the movie is like, wouldn't it be cool if we did this? Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? But then we never explained anything about it.
So the sets, the lighting, the special effects of the ships sitting there, going in, getting to it, fucking amazing. And then at some point, someone went, oh, wait, we have a script. We need to use the words now. They didn't match.
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, because I was watching this, and every once in a while I would see something and go, that looks really cool. I like that. I like the set design. I like the gore was really good, what they showed of it, but everything else was just, I could give a shit about anything anybody said.
Yeah. And Dr. Weir reminded me of Dr. Emmett Brown, but in space. Roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Eyes. Where we're going, we don't need eyes. Did you see that?
Yeah, you did a little thumbs up.
I did. It did it on its own. It's trippy.
Cool.
Okay.
We forgot. Doc,
it's a place of pure evil.
I don't care, Marty. Hand me your eyes.
But Doc, Biff is the one gonna do. Fucking A.
Biff doesn't have any skin.
He ate his own hand, Doc.
Watch out, Marty. Your girlfriend's going to come at you.
It's crazy. It's like he tried to shave, but cut himself all over.
He just shaved everywhere, Doc.
Oh, man.
Why are there blood everywhere? Marty, don't go into the black hole.
Great Scott. Don't go into the black hole. Are we talking about your Dobby stuff again?
Man, that would have made the movie much better if Marty McFly was on the event horizon with
I thought if there was like some magical creature erotica. I'm like, wait, fucked up. No. Floating around with his little vest on.
You are my density. My destiny.
That was actually one of the cooler bits. Like some of the visuals really worked. So with like Lucius Malfoy getting dissected.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. With all his guts his back all flayed and he's hanging from the ceiling and his guts are all poured out onto the table and stuff.
And I gotta call bullshit on that though, because Dr. Weir was moving at a Jason-esque pace. He was moving at his own speed, and then 2 minutes later, he's got him all strung up like that.
Yeah.
Like he ain't moving at that kind of speed. And how's he propping him up? I'm not buying it. But it was good, though. It was a really kick-ass visual. They could have really done something cool.
Yeah. And there is a lot of, I think they owe a lot to Clive Barker and Hellraiser in some of the, the designs of these people who are all flayed out. And, that moment where apparently they shot a bunch of footage of the crewmates or the crew of the Event Horizon being all brutal with each other. And during a test screening, it went so bad that they're like, you got to cut all this shit out of there. And there's supposed to be like a 130-minute cut of the movie, but they pretty much took the original cut and jettisoned all the stuff they wanted out of there, and then it's gone. It's lost forever. Scream Factory, one of my favorite DVD producers, was trying to find the footage and even put out like a general email. Does anybody know where there's any of this footage that was cut? And nobody's ever found it. So that's only the original movie that's out there, even though there was supposed to be a lot gorier and more disgusting. And it really apparently offended the hell out of the test screening audience with all the madness, space madness.
It's just, all I can think about is Ren and Stimpy every time you say that. This is my beloved ice cream bar. How I love to lick its creamy center. And there's the wrapper. It reminds me of the time I was lost in the Andes. And he goes about like eating his foot or something like that. I don't know. It was so succulent.
I was watching a clip of Ren and Stimpy where Ren and Stimpy are wrestlers and they're fighting the guy and it's like, I like Daryl. He's my friend. He likes me. And he's, I don't know. That was such a good cartoon for a short while.
We're not hitchhiking anymore. We're riding.
Flying butt pliers. Yeah.
What was it? Oh, and the thing too is like, was it the things I love, like football leather and dog breath? I don't know.
Yeah. So this movie starts out. You got that techno score. Really,
yeah, that
heavy.
was annoying.
Michael Kamen did the music, and usually he's a pretty reliable producer, but he collaborated with some techno group, and it speaks to the 1997 vibe of this movie, and it doesn't match the Mortal Kombat techno score at all. That one's iconic. Prepare or test your might.
I have gripes with that particular one because you could not go. I knew a lot of guys that did Taekwondo. And they would always say, hey, man, you want to go watch me do my forms? Which was in the Four Corners area. It wasn't forms. It was dance with a kick. Mm-hmm. Right. And then there was always somebody that like, test your might.
Yeah.
Yeah. And throw on a backflip. Can you do a backflip? No. Have you ever used a backflip in a fight? Fuck off.
Exactly. If you're flipping around, you're just going to get tired.
Yeah.
Or somebody's going to punch you in midair while you're flipping around.
Wait for you to land and tackle your ass to the ground.
So it's got this exposition crawl that makes no sense. And apparently in 2047, the Event Horizon went out and was missing for 7 years. And now we see Sam Neill, and he's Dr. Weir, and he's on this rescue ship to go find the Event Horizon, which has miraculously appeared beyond Neptune.
He's Dr. Weir. Duh. That's so fucking dumb.
That was good.
So I've had that in my pocket ever since I watched it. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna say it anyway. It was like I'm fucking holding on to this for Eric.
That's
It's
good.
been stewing.
Man.
It's been stewing for 2 weeks.
Dr. Weird.
Duh. Thank you.
So he gets on the Lewis and Clark rescue ship where we meet our cliched characters, which we've described earlier. Blonde lady, brunette lady, nervous young dude, shifty white guy, sarcastic black guy, cold British medic, and grizzled space captain. So, yeah.
Yep.
They're all suspicious of Dr. Weir because he's not one of them. So they all kind of keep him at arm's length.
And they were right. They should have just shoved his ass out of an airlock.
Their gut instincts were correct.
Just should have, hey, everybody, we're getting along just great.
And of course, we see, his Dr. Weir's having weird flashbacks about his wife who, doesn't have any eyes.
She got her boobies, though.
Yeah, she does have boobies.
A lot of dead wife boobies with no eyes hanging out, which is okay because nipples are the eyes of the breast.
Yes.
Yes.
Very wise. I think I saw that on a fortune cookie one time.
It may have been. I had okay. I'm going to digress. I know we started talking about the movie, but I had the weirdest damn fortune cookie.
Can I guess what it was?
You son of a bitch. You know. Go ahead.
I'm being held captive in a Chinese bakery.
Yes. It's not like I haven't been using that same joke since I was 13. As soon as they bring the cookies, my wife is like, shut the hell up. Don't say it. Every time we ate at the Golden Dragon, you know what was happening when those cookies came out.
You would always break in to your fortune cookie and go, oh my God, it says, help. I'm being held captive in a Chinese bakery.
It's my wife won't even let me have the cookies anymore. She just snatches those things so fast. Oh, okay, fortune cookies done.
Yes.
God. Memory lane.
The cryo sleep is named something else in this movie, but it's a direct ripoff from Aliens. And the production designers of Alien should sue Event Horizon people.
I'm going to call this the Moist Slumber Pod.
The Moist Slumber Pod.
Yes.
And I wrote that one of the side effects of the Moist Slumber Pod is sucking in your gut. It makes you suck in your gut.
You get all that slumber pod juice in your belly button. That's the only way you're going to get it out. Didn't they call them like gravity couches or some shit like that?
Something, gravity couches, because the gravity drive would bend you up or fuck you up if you weren't in it when it was engaged.
If you weren't in the moist sleep pod.
The moist number bed. How moist do you want it?
What number of moisture do you like? I like my moisture at 75. She likes her moisture at 100.
Yeah. Which looks kind of cool because, they filled them up with water. And, of course, Dr. Weird is having nightmares. And he gets out of the slumber pod. And then he's sucking his gut in for his life depended.
Suck that thing in for all it's worth, dude. Yeah. Man, I'm losing some weight. But, man, when I'm gained a lot after my pops died due to depression and all the empty calories and alcohol. But I'm losing weight. But I tell you, at 2 a.m., man, if I'm popping out of my slumber pod, I'm going belly proud, man. I ain't worried about nothing. Posture, nothing. Yeah. It's out there for everybody. Enjoy this thing.
Well, Neil sent me a text about that, about Sam Neill sucking in his gut. And that's all I could see during that.
He's so rigid. He's like, well,
yes, he's really high, and he's
I am Dr. Weir, and look at how trim I fit into my weird space undies.
Yeah. So they talk about when everybody thaws out of their slumber chamber, their wet slumber chamber, it has a typical alien. Everybody sits around and talks about what's going on, and they get the exposition dump, and with Dr. Weir's being a little shifty about why they're out there, and people are kind of aggressive toward him.
Nothing builds trust by not telling people the truth.
Exactly. being a little sus.
I can't have this decision made by a grunt. No offense. None taken. That's my Alien quote.
Aliens is so damn good.
God, isn't it though? I kind of want to go watch it now.
Yeah. When I was watching this movie, it's like, maybe I should turn on a better sci-fi movie.
And the tension alone from the sound of that their motion detector, that bing, 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 and you're listening to it like, run, dude, run.
There's a lot of needless jump scares where shit falls down and scares everybody, and and there's a floating corpse, and they talk about the artificial black hole and how it was actually turned on, and that's why the event horizon disappeared, and then it came back, but it didn't go to whatever Proxima Neptune, where the hell it was supposed to go. I can't even remember the name of where we're supposed to go.
It moved to a dimension
Proxima Centauri. Instead of that, it went to hell. The hell dimension. Chaos dimension. And this is where the movie has the most potential, but fumbles it the most. Because they get that Latin transmission, and then it turns out to be, save yourself or whatever. And then they get to see the last broadcast from the crew of the Event Horizon. And that part would have been the coolest if they could have expounded on it, where everybody's going nuts and killing each other. The guy's got the eyeballs in his hands, and it looks like people are, getting plowed for half a second, and and all this other shit's going on.
We got
depraved space madness.
We got us a haunted spaceship.
Yes, if you didn't guess it,
or possessed.
Yeah, the spaceship is a life form itself, and is trying to keep everybody on it or to stop from blowing it up. And everybody sees their worst fears. The brunette doctor lady sees her kids' yucky legs.
Thanks, Forrest. You got yucky legs.
You got yucky legs, Lieutenant Dan. And then, then the captain apparently had a thing where he had to leave behind one of his crew members, so that crew member is haunting him. And of course, Dr. Weir sees his wife with no eyes. And then, she's going to see that she's killed herself because he was leaving for so long, and all this kind of stuff. Just space madness is abound. Justin, our young guy, gets pulled into the black hole, and then he gets pulled out, and then he decides that he's going to, put himself between the airlocks and try to get all his gut sucked out. But they save him, and they have to put him back in stasis and all that kind of stuff. And, sort of dramatic.
Dies anyway.
Yeah, dies anyway. So there's a lot of concepts that would be good if they figured out how to execute them or spent some time on them. Like we talked about later when Dr. Weir gets full space madness mode when he rips out his eyes after seeing his eyeless wife's boobs. He rips out his eyes, and then he goes nuts. And you see him in various ways. He's all bald with the runes on him, and his flayed, has shaved all his hair off. He looks like a suntanned, overly sunburnt person.
Well, this is happening in 27 years. This is all going down.
27 years. So the space madness is everywhere. They try to blow up the ship, but Weir stops them, and that part just seemed like it took forever. Where the guy was out there repairing the ship, and then he comes back and he uses his little air resources to blast himself to the other ship.
Yeah. The part I hated. Oh, I hated it. I mean, I get that you make movies for the middle of the bell curve. I get that. But like, what are these blinking things that say danger explosive? Oh, this will blow up the ship, so part of it can be used as a lifeboat and part of it stays behind. The part with the dangerous gateway to hell. Oh my God, I wonder what's going to happen. Will they be able to do that? Or will those be taken and used in some nefarious way?
Like to blow up the other ship.
Like to blow up the other ship. What's going to happen? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
And I always hate, especially at the end, where Lawrence Fishburne's character is taking on Dr. Weir, and it resorts to like a fucking slugfest where he's beating him up and stuff like that. Where
he was getting his ass whipped.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Like if he's his otherworldly presence now and has all these demonic powers and has seen, the vastness of hell and stuff like that, wouldn't he be able to like avoid getting pummeled with some air tanks?
Mm-hmm. You'd think. Well, maybe he just didn't see those coming.
Yes, because where he went, you don't need eyes.
You don't need eyes.
Yeah. So it all kind of wraps up in a very convenient manner. The captain sacrifices himself to blow up the evil half of the ship, and our three survivors wind up being on the ship that gets discovered, but does it? There's a nightmare sequence where Dr. Weir is one of the people rescuing her, and then the doors close ominously, and then the movie's over. And you're like, oh. Surprisingly, no sequel, though.
Yeah, surprisingly, thank God.
I mean, if this movie doesn't get a sequel, but Hellraiser gets 12, Children of the Corn gets like 12.
Okay, I have a soft spot in my heart for Children of the Corn movies.
Yeah. Well, at least the first Children of the Corn is great.
And
He Who Walks Behind the Rose.
Hellraiser at least has some catchy characters that you learn to love and you love to see grow.
Yes. The skin grow on Frank. Come to Daddy.
Don't look at me. It's Frank.
It's Frank. Yeah.
I love me some Hellraiser movies too.
Yeah, those are good, and the new one was pretty good. I think it was a worthy sequel.
Yeah, they need to pursue that. Oh God, I would love to have something to do with those. I got some twisted shit in my head that needs to come out to a Hellraiser movie.
This movie, like we've talked about quite a bit, is that there's flashes of originality or cool concepts that just never come to fruition. But it was a huge DVD seller. When it came out, it was a really kind of embraced by the video rental. I remember seeing this on DVD as one of the first DVDs that came out, because it came out in 97, so DVDs really started becoming popular in 98. I got my first DVD player in 1998, and that was just this was always out there to rent. Remember the old DVDs that were like in a cardboard shell with a little plastic clasp, and then the early ones you would have to turn it over.
Yeah,
because they didn't do the dual layer DVDs yet, so you'd have to turn it over halfway through the movie.
Mm-hmm. Those were super fun. When you got like a Lord of the Rings thing, and there's like 500 discs in there, that you were in for evenings worth of entertainment.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you a story. Just a digression. Our Xfinity internet went out for 24 hours, and we were reduced to like the damn Waltons in this house. I was reading.
Good night, John Boy.
I was
Good
reading,
night, Mary Ellen,
and listening to albums and watching my Looney Tunes Blu-rays just to kind of pass the time. Andrew got that new Doom game. Doom, like medieval Doom or whatever.
Yeah, I saw some things about that.
I will give id Software a credit, is that you could actually play it offline. You don't have to be online to play it. So Andrew was still able to play the PS5 and enjoy his new video game without having, while Jamie and I suffered, forced to interact with each other. Yeah. But that's Event Horizon. I think it's worth watching at least once, so you can kind of get the idea where a lot of space horror video games came from. It seems like it's a lot of horror video games that have that same premise where like you come upon a abandoned house or abandoned spaceship or abandoned, outpost, and lots of heinous things happened, and you have to find your way what happened to everything, and then gradually everything gets scarier and scarier.
See, it just every time I see something like that, I always remember that old Eddie Murphy thing where he talks about the differences in families.
Yeah.
Where they're like, get out. He's like, oh, did you hear a noise? I think maybe that was the wind. I don't know what that was. Like, get out. There, peace out. Nice to see you later.
Yeah. So going back to my notes, looked up iconic horror movies in space horror. Aliens, and Aliens, of course, are the gold standard by which all space horror movies must be judged. The Thing is not technically set in space, but there is a space element because Alien is the villain, the creature. Moon, which I have not seen. I heard that's pretty good. Pandorum, I haven't seen either. Sunshine wasn't too bad. A little slow for me, but it wasn't too bad. Leprechaun 4 in space. You know your franchise is on his last legs when it goes to space.
When it goes to space, Jason and if Jason and the Leprechaun fought each other in space, that'd have been badass.
Yeah, I would watch that one. Yeah. Galaxy of Terror. That's probably one of the first space horror movies I remember seeing as a kid. It was an Alien ripoff. James Cameron did the special effects. So, yeah. Screamers, which I've seen on other media. Screamers. Okay. That's a little porn joke there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is Event Horizon. A lot of people really like it. I enjoyed watching it, but I wouldn't really recommend it.
It was fun for nostalgia, but it's not something I would stop and want to watch again if I'm just kind of hanging out at the house and have nothing better to do rather than try to be an adult. Would I rather watch this movie or get bitten several times by a pit bull? I'd rather watch this film.
Yeah, that's a good measure.
If it's like Black Christmas, fucking take my arm, pit bull. You can have it.
You got it.
I'll get me a kick-ass bionic hand. I saw one on the news. Girl could unhook it and it crawled across the table like things from the Addams Family. I'm down for that. As long as I don't have to see Black Christmas. If we can erase that from the universe, I would be okay with it.
So next week is The Abyss, an actually good science fiction movie. Check that out with really good CGI for its time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, where this movie had middling CGI for its time, but it wasn't Scorpion King levels bad of CGI.
Ooh, yeah. But his poor face, what they did to his poor face in that.
It looked like it was a PS1 game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, check us out, rvspodcast222@gmail.com. If you want to hit us up on Instagram, I'm going to be better, I promise, about updating our socials. I've just, been busy. And
you say that, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. And then look us up on Facebook and then buymeacoffee.com if you want to contribute to the cause. And we promise we'll be a little more consistent. Last week was just kind of a oops week. So
I blame the dog.
Yes, blame the dogs.
100% blame the dog.
So anyway, I think David will be back with us as well. So something to look forward to.
Well, sure. That's one way to look at it.
If you're a David fan, then yes.
So of the 4, maybe 1?
There's probably a contingent out there. David.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Have a good week.
We'll see everybody, and if you feel sad because Eric belittled your plight inside the Chinese bakery, I apologize.
Thank you for listening to the Retro Video Store Podcast.